Do you want more success, more growth, more results? Then it's time for the Boundless Success Accelerator from the Modern Observer Group. This isn't your average coaching program. It's where top performers come to dominate. Weekly group sessions, on-demand coaching, a community that's got your back, and a power-packed library of tools to supercharge your business and career. No more excuses, no more waiting. Get in, level up, and start building the life you've been dreaming about. Visit us at modernobserver.com/boundless success to join today. Let's get you to the next level. We're here because the news is being distorted. We're here because people are being inundated with misinformation on social media. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup.
This is the raw, naked truth.
The Iran-Israel conflict escalates. Democratic politicians murdered by left-wing activists. Consumer sentiment rises, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Israel's war against Iran's nuclear program began Friday morning. Since then, Israel has managed to take out almost the entire leadership of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps and at least 14 nuclear scientists and targeted top Houthi commanders in Yemen. It has damaged Natanz, the country's largest uranium enrichment site, and hit a uranium conversion facility at Isfahan. Israeli officials say that they have achieved freedom of action in the skies above Tehran. The assault has not, however, eliminated Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities. To do that requires destroying the uranium enrichment site at Fordow, buried half a kilometer below the Iranian mountains. The initiative actually began well over a year ago when Mossad agents proceeded to infiltrate Iran, which allowed them to place drones within Iran. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered a speech aimed directly at the Iranian people on Friday evening, urging them to rise up against their oppressive government and to demand their freedom. Iran launched a new wave of missile attacks against Israel on Monday morning, killing at least 8 people and wounding dozens of others, according to Israeli emergency services. 4 people in their 70s, 2 men and 2 women, were among the people killed in the wave of missile attacks that struck 4 sites in central Israel. The Israeli Magen David Adom Emergency Service reported. In addition to those killed, the MDA said more than 100 others had been evacuated and transported to hospitals, including a 30-year-old woman in serious condition, while rescuers continued to search for people trapped beneath the rubble of destroyed homes. A 6-day-old baby was among those pulled from the rubble. The Israeli Defense Forces announced that 1/3 of Iran's missile launchers have now been destroyed since the beginning of Operation Rising Lion. Since the beginning of the operation, more than 120 missile launchers, constituting 1/3 of the Iranian regime's total launchers, have been destroyed, the IDF released in a statement. It also said the Israeli Air Force destroyed more than 20 surface-to-surface missiles on Sunday night before they were launched towards the state of Israel, and completed several waves of strikes overnight, targeting approximately 100 military targets in Isfahan, central Iran. As part of the strikes, approximately 50 fighter jets and aircraft identified and struck missile storage sites, surface-to-surface missile launchers that were ready to launch towards the state of Israel, and command centers where launch squads were prepping to carry out launches towards the territory of the state of Israel, according to the IDF. At the time of this recording, attacks on Israel are ongoing. As the conflict continues between Israel and Iran, many say that the airstrikes present a potential opportunity for significant political transformation. Iranian Americans and Israeli government officials have been increasingly vocal in their calls for regime change, advocating for a shift towards a more democratic and transparent governance structure. Exiled Iranian Crown Prince HRH Reza Pahlavi told Fox News' Maria Bartiromo that it is only a matter of time before the Iranian regime is toppled and Iranians have a tremendous opportunity. This is an opportunity that has happened before, according to a briefing by the American Jewish Congress. However, those opportunities failed as Iranian leaders struck out against their people. Authorities say that around 2 a.m. local time on Saturday, Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette were shot multiple times at their home in Champlain, and that the same attacker then went to the house of State Representative Melissa Hortman in nearby Brooklyn Park, where he murdered her and her husband, Mark. Police engaged the suspect at Hortman's home. He fled but left a vehicle flashing lights that contained a manifesto listing 50 to 70 names of potential targets, many of whom were abortion rights supporters. Police caught the alleged shooter, identified as Vance Luthor Bolter, a left-wing political appointee of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, on Sunday evening, after a manhunt that lasted more than 24 hours. The Hoffmans survived and underwent surgery to treat their wounds. John was shot 9 times, Yvette 8. The U.S. Army celebrated its 250th anniversary with a military parade through Washington, D.C. on Saturday. Hundreds of thousands of spectators turned out for the parade, which included close to 6,600 soldiers and hundreds of vehicles and aircraft, Army officials said. Planning for the celebration has been underway for the better part of 2 years, starting during the Biden administration, but the parade of military vehicles was added to the festivities this year, according to Army officials. Organizers of the No Kings protest claim more than 5 million people joined No Kings protests across the United States on Saturday in opposition to the Trump administration. While aerial photographs indicate the attendance was much smaller than that, several cities combined the protests with gay pride parades in order to boost the numbers. Most demonstrations remained peaceful. However, a rally in Portland, Oregon exploded into a full-blown riot at a local ICE facility, where 3 were arrested as demonstrators reportedly tried to force entry into the building. The Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals on Thursday temporarily blocked a federal judge's order that directed President Donald Trump to return control of National Guard troops to California after he deployed them there following protests in Los Angeles over immigration raids. The court said it would hold a hearing on the matter on Tuesday. The ruling came only hours after a federal judge's order was to take effect at noon Friday. Consumer sentiment surged in June, ending a 6-month slide as optimism grew following the Trump administration's recent rollback of select tariffs. June consumer confidence rose to 60.5, beating the 54 estimate and marking a 15.9% monthly gain, according to one index of consumer sentiment. Inflation expectations also dropped sharply, with the one-year outlook falling to 5.1%, down from 6.6% last month, and easing from highs not seen since 1981. Consumer confidence remains divided along political lines, with Republicans expressing greater optimism about the economy under Trump than Democrats. The Federal Reserve is also expected to hold interest rates steady at this week's meeting. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.